So, call to order for July 10th, Finance and HR Committee. It is 5:02. Let's see, we have Councilmember Harrington.
Here.
Councilmember Matheson.
Here.
I'm here. And acceptance of minutes, did we have a chance to take a look? Were there any questions or?
No.
Great. Keep on. So, our first item is on a waiver for a fee for Water Street closure.
So they're gonna have those events on, what is it, Friday and Saturday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah, on Saturday nights from, I think it's 7:30 to 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
So, turns out to be about $225 per close, about $1,600 total. So, any points to raise or questions?
Is the city closing the street?
It would be like, so part of the approval would be to close the street, the council has to approve street closure. But because we've installed a gate at the end that can be operated by pretty much anyone that we authorize and give the key to, we would work with the organizers so they could just close it. It's got the signage on it, so we don't have to set up any temporary barricades or anything like that. So it's much easier than closing down Main Street or anything like that.
So like, no, we don't have to put people in all
I
the
don't
time
think,
and-
I would wanna just confirm that with Chris, but I don't think we'd have to bring anyone in from DPW in overtime. I know they had a meeting with the organizer, I wasn't here a couple days ago, DPW, fire and police, and I believe the mayor might have been in that as well, met with the organizer and talked about those things, so.
And I think, it's similar to when the farmer's market was on Deet Street. We didn't have to have a city employee put up the barriers.
Yeah, we had it in that box.
I did it and all that. Yeah. Are those barriers still in the box?
They may be.
They're
I'm
probably
not sure
are.
if they've been taken out.
You haven't used them?
What's that?
You haven't used them?
Not since last year. That box is
Since
still-
you lived down there.
I guess-
Barrier.
Just the concern is if we start
Yeah.
waiving these all the time,
Right.
we're gonna get ourselves in
Yeah.
trouble down the.
Yeah. The point that was raised is that if you look for the note for consideration, is that there's already been 3,000 allocated. So if we charge them by waiving the fee, we're kind of giving the money kind of back to ourselves.
Yeah, the performances at the end of Water Street were part of the, I call it 2025 downtown support package that the council approved. So similar to Muller Plaza, where we're paying the bands to perform, we're doing the same thing at Water Street. And Jim Seymour from the Black Oak is helping coordinate those bands like Jeff Doyle is. So yeah, to your point, we'd be, it's sort of it's not a city event per se, this is a private event, and I've been insistent on, that's how it should be set up, and that's how we want it to be in the future. We don't want the city having to organize events, but we've been trying to kickstart this Water Street area as like more of a public space and try to get more activity there that hopefully can have some positive impact on businesses in downtown generally. So with the $3,000 going in, do we want to take some back from, the business owners that are trying to organize something to help themselves down there, or is this something where it's a little different? I don't know.
Right, I mean, I think Water Street, like you're saying with the gate, if we're not bringing people in, the whole idea with the fee was because we're bringing people in on overtime.
Right.
If we're not gonna have to touch that gate,
Yeah.
we can make Water Street a different venue.
Yeah.
It might be, something where we can have a different fee schedule for it even,
Yep. I was
to look
thinking
at in
that
the
as well.
future.
Yep.
Like I'm saying, like, once we start, we're not gonna give you a fee, we're not gonna give you a fee, not gonna give you a fee, I think we're gonna kind of work against ourselves down the road for other items that we're doing. But I think maybe what we ought to do, whatever committee needs to look at it, is maybe Water Street could be set up different because you have a gate that people don't have to, and maybe that could be a different fee structure, maybe like $50 because we're closing the road down, or $100 because we're closing the road down, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as
So
well.
instead of setting a precedent where we just give it away, we have a lower fee.
Because I mean, you're still processing the applications, you're still having the meetings with your fire chiefs, your police chief, your DPW and stuff like that, so we're still doing stuff on the city side. And I'm not trying to make, I'll never try to say we're gonna close a deficit by these permits, that's not what I want, even out there, it's just, but make sure that they're actually committed to doing stuff, and you gotta have a little bit of a fee with that, you know, but, I mean,
I think the thinking was also for this was that the merchants themselves weren't going to really be making much off of this. Like it was
Right.
really just to kind of bring foot traffic to a part of the downtown that maybe people don't know about necessarily. They're not aware of it, and this is just a way to get bodies there so that they can look around and say, "Oh, look, you know, there's the Black Oak, there's Asian cuisine," or I mean, just to get people to kind of be familiar with that as like a new space. So there was like that kind of
so,
down the line economic incentive by waiving the fee.
so can you double, I mean, I'm not like saying I'm opposed to it, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you maybe get with Chris and let us know, like, if he's gotta bring anybody in for when we get ready to vote on this? And then maybe, you know, instead of like the whole fee, maybe just like a $50.
Yeah.
What if the committee, maybe for the 2026 fee schedule, considered a seasonal fee for Water Street? So it's a fee that covers the whole season for the summer. Just an idea to throw out.
Yeah, I think that's great ideas, like,
It's a great
because
idea.
especially like the
That's-
whole thing, like with the gate, it's different, we don't
Yeah.
have to bring people in, we
Yeah.
don't have to.
Because when I read this, I thought, well, this is for a specific time of year. This
Mhm.
is really about the summer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
and
I
so
also-
you can,
But for my personal
Yeah.
viewpoint, we want people to come to Water
Mhm.
Street, and we don't wanna, injure the vendors
right,
for
Right.
additional costs.
exactly.
Right.
You want to incentivize them doing things
But you still
too.
want something like with the parks, where if they
Right.
do the X, Y, and Z, that they can be held accountable too. Water Street, I think, is gonna be a completely different venue than like closing down Main Street, I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, and something like this, there's 7 performances they're planning, it takes one review,
yeah.
saying, it's one application we're reviewing, even though it's 7 performances, so it wouldn't make sense to charge them 7 times or anything like that. So if we establish something that just covers the basic cost of applying, that's not significant at all, that might be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I
It's
said,
very
like,
different.
what about $50 versus whatever, I mean, I
Yeah.
forgot what they're getting charged here, but,
And you could call it a seasonal
yeah.
for summer, or
Yeah,
whatever.
it would be, if you did it by what we currently have, it would be $1,575.
Yeah, we got, yeah.
Right, which would be just getting back half of what we gave them, which, not the purpose of it.
Right.
Right, exactly.
But I still think
that's a
that-
really good idea.
I still think that you're making it a monetary thing of,
Yeah,
that people are gonna be accountable. You
Yeah.
have to do X, Y, and Z. You already met with our department heads and stuff, so we already did that. You already got the paperwork in. So,
yeah.
So how do we implement that?
I think we could have,
Season.
I think we could do this,
we could
as
do an
a council.
adjustment. I think we can do
Right?
an adjustment at the
Yeah.
council meeting.
Yeah.
Rather than
Fee.
waiving the entire fee, you're just
Right. We're not
approving
waiving
Setting a
the-
different fee.
a different fee for this
Yeah.
particular event, and I would just
a
say.
one time, see how it
Yeah.
goes, and give us time to work on
Yeah.
how to set up something different for Water Street.
Yeah, I think that's great.
So then we're not setting any precedents whatsoever. This is a one-time thing. We just got Water Street constructed.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a committee look at it, because it's a different type of venue with the gate and stuff, and then it's a, because it can be held completely different than any other street.
That's right. Because I think the plan is to get it going.
Get it going.
Yeah,
Yes.
get it activated.
Mhm.
Great.
Then we just reevaluate in our normal annual fee
Mhm.
update process. $50, is that, you suggested? Is that
I
what you
said
wanna-
50, I mean, I don't know, it could be 100.
100, I mean, we'd have to would we calculate that in terms of like city staff time and so forth?
Hey, we can guesstimate
Yeah.
things, but the people involved are all salaried, so,
As I said, we just do, you know.
you know, it's not a direct cost, but it's a time cost.
Right, but maybe, I mean, maybe $100, start there. mean,
Yeah, I think
it's-
so, I think that's good. And then we just bring that to the council as a motion for discussion,
Yeah, so rather than a
Yeah.
motion to waive the fees, motion to,
to
you know,
discuss it.
authorize a one-time
Yeah.
$100 fee for
Yeah.
this event, and put it in discussion?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so,
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
yeah. And then we can maybe hear from Chris a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll have time to, I mean, like I said, if it's a gate that they don't have to be involved with,
right,
Chris said, I just texted him, he said that there is no overtime incurred by this, it'll just be us
yeah,
dropping off the trailer that we got that's got the, you know, chairs and tables and sound equipment in it, and then that would be done during regular business hours on a Thursday or Friday and picked up on a Monday.
great,
so $100 will at least cover gas. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But could you do me a favor and push that microphone right there down? It's the line of sight. No, but like.
Oh, down here?
Yeah.
I'm doing
Now
that
I
on
can see it,
purpose,
okay.
man, I gotta go.
Hiding behind there. Thank you.
Anything, so does that sound like, it sounds
I
like a
think that
great
sounds like a
plan.
good-
Yeah,
a
I
good
think that
idea.
sounds really good,
Yeah,
good compromise, okay,
right.
super. So is there anything else to add to that? Okay, so we'll move to, our next item is on the appointments for the Housing Commission.
I'm good with
This
that.
is for, yeah, Gary and Faye.
I have no issues.
And this, and then the second appointment is for the Community Relations and Human Rights Commission for the, appointment of Rousseau Rouvet. And these would be for partial term and then two full. Yeah. Any, questions about those appointments?
No.
Okay. So we can move
I only
on.
got, I'm sorry, let me just
It's
back
okay.
up real quick, 'cause I know this is probably gonna come up, so I'll just
Yeah.
ask it here,
Yeah,
'cause I don't see it, I might just be overlooking it. Are they city residents, both of them?
Yeah, it's under residency, Scott, just right under their name.
Where am I missing that?
It's right under their name. Do you see it?
Oh, now I do, disregard. I told you I was probably missing it. I'm sitting here staring at it going,
Yeah.
I knew we used to have it on there, but where did it go? Disregard that. I'm still good, so.
yeah. Yes, please, yes, thank you. Okay, so the next section is fee schedule, which is, this is what we talked about, remember with the park,
Mhm.
DPW cleanup, yeah.
So I have a question. Is $500 too high?
Mm,
And
I think
would that
$500 was a little bit low,
discourage- All right.
agreed.
because we're actually still gonna take a loss for the amount of cleanup that they had to do,
Potentially,
potentially.
Yeah.
And the ones that they did have to do it,
Yeah.
we already were at a loss on the
Yeah.
one.
So,
Yeah.
what kind of an event? I thought this was for smaller events.
No, this was, events that we already had that were done, and I can't remember the event off the top of my head
Mhm.
that brought this to light.
So if somebody wants to rent the pavilion for a family
Uh,
gathering,
This
would-
wasn't this was like the whole park, this
Oh.
wasn't.
this is like a section of Nemo Park,
This,
right?
yeah, so Fourth of July or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
June
this is for like the
or-
big, yeah.
Yeah.
The pavilion
This
fees
is
are
the-
separate.
Right,
There is a fee for cleaning for the deposit, $100, right, Bonnie?
Yes.
For
Mhm.
pavilions. This would be for the bigger events.
Okay.
Yeah, this was stuff we had to go out in like the fields and clean up.
right.
Mm,
That
Yeah,
has like a lot of attendance,
Mhm.
like high traffic.
Mhm.
right. And that 500 is reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a starting point, because like I said, it was one of those ones where it kinda took them like a day and a half, so.
Yeah. wonder if we should have a discussion about this too, if it's a fee.
After that last meeting, I don't know. I know it's always say we pull stuff, but I don't wanna go through that again. I'm up with whatever you wanna do, Cecilia, I'm good with
Okay.
whatever, I really am. To me, this is a no-brainer, but
I totally agree, but maybe other people wouldn't, I don't know. They would wanna see the fee and have a discussion about why.
suggestions?
I'm
If
just
you,
trying
if
to
you feel more
anticipate.
comfortable, let's just put it on discussion.
Yeah,
if
that's
you
what
feel
I
more
think,
comfortable.
just to anticipate if there's questions, then we can just, field them,
That's fine with me.
yeah. Cause I do think, I don't know if other council members are aware of what happened
Right.
most recently, right?
Mhm.
So this gives them a chance to catch up. Okay, so we'll move that, I think, for discussion, for motion for discussion, and then the next item is the, Westcott, the replacement project for the retaining wall. And this is about the bid that was,
Right, so we have a design for this. Alex Herman, Herman Engineering, did the design and construction bid documents. We got bid pricing. We had a good response. We received 7 bids. The bid note is attached after this form. You can see the different prices. The low bidder, Bursol Excavation, has been determined to be qualified, and we are recommending awarding the bid to them. Contract amount of just under $410,000. This was included in the capital plan for this year. It was estimated initially at $350,000. So it's a little bit more than what we had estimated originally a couple of years ago when we put it on the capital plan. The funding is intended on the capital plan and recommended now to come from the Streets and Sidewalks Reserve. Under the budget considerations on the second page, I explain that we have a current estimated balance of $1.175 million. Although you could maybe consider that $1.1 million, assuming that we were to get the Safe Streets for All grant, we would use our $75,000 from that to pay our city match for that grant. That was recently approved by council. So we have about $1.1 million available in that reserve. This would bring it down to $690 if we used it.
So there's gonna be a new wall built in front of the existing wall and a new staircase.
Correct. And some sidewalk work replacement on Main Street where it needs to be adjacent to that. And some
Mhm.
pavement, about a quarter of the Westcott lot needs to be repaved where they're
Right, the only question I had about is the fence. Right now, I think, is that called a wrought iron fence? And it seems to be in pretty good condition, and the fence that you had talked about replacing it with doesn't seem like it's as good, and, it's not as strong. Why can't we use the existing fence?
I'm not sure that I said anything about the specific type of fence. I don't, where did you hear that it was gonna be not strong?
When we were talking with Jimmy in the parking lot one day, and it was like, I think it's, I don't know exactly what kind of fence it's called, but I think it's probably steel that's hollow or something,
Okay.
I don't know.
I can't
Why
say
we
that I
use
know
the-
exactly.
Why can't we use the existing fence?
I would have to pose that question to the engineer. I'm not sure that it can be disassembled and reused. I have to look at how it's mounted. I'm really not sure. It's not very sturdy.
yeah.
Well, it's not sturdy because the wall is not sturdy, but the fence is sturdy, and,
Maybe visually it's sturdy, but we don't actually know, the structural integrity of the fence itself.
Greg,
Yeah.
in fixing this wall, correct me if I'm incorrect, but I think right now, retaining walls, there's 2 walls right now up against the dirt. They're gonna take the outside wall down, and the inside wall's going to stay, and then they're gonna replace the outside wall, is that correct?
Yeah.
So is that fence connected to the outside wall that has to come down?
That was just a question, if it's already pretty much a done deal, there's gonna be a new fence, I'm not gonna object, but I thought it was a way of saving some money.
I can share that with Chris and pose the question to see if it's
Okay.
possible, but I just don't
I
know.
mean, it
Can't
does
right
say,
now.
oh, excuse me, yeah.
No.
I was gonna say, it does say decorative fence. I mean, it doesn't say it necessarily as a fence that's, you know, for the structural integrity of the, anything. So, how necessary is it even to have it there,
Oh,
right?
otherwise you'd fall over the side.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a
Is
fence
that
there.
why?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's why the
Okay,
12
because
foot
decorative
fall or
is then,
something?
it's maybe a little bit of a misnomer, I don't know, that it should be,
Yeah, you have to have a fence.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. I could see big problems if there wasn't a fence. Anyway, that was just a thought I had.
So is there any other questions that you
No.
had about it? So repurposing the old, this decorative
Well,
fence
look into
for
it.
the new project?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
less waste,
Mhm.
environmentally sound.
Possibly.
But you know, it can go to the consent agenda as far as I'm concerned, if you want to.
No.
I mean, it's something that we already budgeted.
Sorry?
I know, I said it's something we already budgeted for and
Mhm.
planned for, we just have to take that little extra out, which is, I try to trust the committees, that's why we're here, and if we're saying it's a good thing, I
Completely.
think it'd be all right on consent, but.
I mean, just to put it in context, you know, to not do anything isn't really an option for very long. It's in pretty bad shape. You know, you have blocks that are disintegrating now that, you know, eventually you're gonna start falling down. The fence is held together by a Tonka block that is preventing it from tipping over when you lean on it. So it's not really an option to not do anything. So it's really just about how are we gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
There are no grant opportunities for a fence like this.
Mhm.
So it's gotta come from the city's general fund somehow. We've put money previously in the Streets and Sidewalks Reserve. This wall is holding up part of a street in the sidewalk. The other option would be to take it out of unrestricted general fund balance, which is really, in my opinion, six of one, half dozen of another, because you guys take that money and put it back into the Streets and Sidewalks Reserve if you'd like. And that's something we talk about every year when the budget gets closed. I think Jenny will bring that up at our budget meeting. So I don't see many other options,
Mhm.
you know. It's just about where do you wanna take
It's
it
a
from? What
necessary
pot of money do you
project.
wanna take it out of?
Yeah.
Right, Jenny, anything else?
There's no doubt it has to be done.
I mean, to me, it seems very appropriate to come out of streets and sidewalks.
Right, totally agree. All right, then let's move it to the consent agenda. Sounds good. And what is the,
Should
so
be
by
completed
October?
this year, yeah.
Okay, that was my question.
Be done for Halloween parade.
Hopefully. Should be.
Okay, so our next item is for the city tree inventory. Contract approval to conduct an inventory, arbor services for an inventory.
Yeah, so this would update our tree inventory. As it says, there's about 3,100 existing trees to be categorized and inventoried. Also stumps that may be out there that haven't been ground along the streets. We also will inventory approximately 1,500 vacant sites, vacant meaning areas in the street tree median that could be planted in the future, and it would identify a 5-year budget and benefits analysis of managing those spaces, adding trees, planting over time. Planting plan, as I said, you know, I think we'll have a little bit better. This will be in addition to our 5-year capital plan. We'll have a 5-year planting plan that we can use as our guide, and an urban tree canopy analysis, which is, as the name implies, it's just analyzing how much coverage the tree canopy is providing over certain areas, and you can kind of get an idea of where we're lacking, where we might want to focus in the future.
And,
Go ahead.
quick question.
Yeah,
time period?
we did not, we don't have a canopy analysis, and we don't have a full, like, planting plan, but we do have potential planting sites and existing trees that were inventoried in around 2012, I believe.
Okay.
So it's old now, and we'd like to update it, but we do have something.
Mhm. So there's some kind of data baseline that you can then look at
Yeah.
and analyze, yeah.
We had budgeted for this in the, the code is CM05, and you see that, that's referring to the, we have a 85-60 shade trees. In some years, we'll budget general fund money to pay for those. When we can, when we have logging revenue, like we do now, we budget it in the CM05, so it's coming out of our reserves. So the community landscaping reserve is a reserve that funds our operating budget for tree trimming and maintenance, removal, planting, and something like this study. So we have listed in here, we have $60,550 in that code right now. The proposal is just under 40,000. So we have enough balance in there now. I will note that we do have tree trim and removal bid still to go out later this year. So depending on how many trees are on that list that are arborist, I don't know that he has finalized that list yet. I haven't seen it from Chris. But when we go out to bid for that, it could be that we're gonna need or ask for more funding to come out of that reserve to go toward that. I don't know. I know last year we spent $60,000 on tree
Did you say
trimming.
the last one was 60,000?
I think it was 60-something thousand.
I think so.
That was for tree removal.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up coming back when that bid goes out, which usually late summer, early fall, I think they put that out, that we come back and talk about taking more out of that reserve,
Mhm.
so.
I have to get another copy of the agenda.
Are you
I
looking for
buried
something?
mine and I can't find it.
Oh, sure,
Disappeared.
got it. So it seems like in the additional sections, there's some key components here, which is like the storm preparedness, seems like it will be really important.
That's one that, and I didn't do the evaluation of the RFPs myself, that was several others in engineering.
Mhm, mhm.
But from what Chris told me, that's not something they're looking to do right now. They don't think that that's something that they need a consultant to do, that we can kind of do that in-house.
Okay,
But I would have to defer to him to
yeah,
speak more to that.
yeah, I'd be curious. If it can be done in-house, why not? It seems like a no-brainer. But it seems like an important component to this, because there are many trees here that if you did have once in a 200-year storm,
Oh,
it would be
yeah, that.
significant damage,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
having a notion of what that damage would look like and then how do you recover would be important, I would think, so.
Right. Let's hope we don't have that event.
So then the focus of the inventory would just be maintenance tasks and then getting a plan in terms of planting? Is that really the purpose of this? If you're not looking at storm preparedness or kind of emergency
Yeah,
preparedness
maintenance,
or invasive pest?
planting, yeah,
Mhm.
addressing any potential invasive species that might affect
Okay.
certain species.
Mhm.
We have a, approved species list for planting, but I think this would add to or update that.
Mhm.
This will also be useful if we are able to apply, if we seek to apply to grants through New York State or potentially a federal grant, depending on what's available for
Mhm.
tree planting or maintenance, which we've received those in the past through the urban forestry grants. So they require an updated inventory and urban, I think they call it an urban forestry management plan.
Yeah.
I think it has to be less than 10 years old. Judy would know off the top of her head, but I think
Yeah.
that's probably about right. And that would be part of this, would be
Yeah.
updating our plan so that we're eligible for those,
Yeah.
which there's not a particular opportunity we're looking to apply for
No.
right now, but when they come up.
Yeah. Great. Fascinating. Oh, I had a question about, is there a role the environmental board can play in this? with
There,
this at all, or no?
there is a process that's defined now, that's been defined for a couple of years, since we had some issues a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, in the Sixth Ward, there's some concerns from residents about where we were planting trees in the city right away, so we established a more defined communication process, so we have to notify the council member and then the resident, and ask if they have any objections to a tree being planted in front of their house before we go and plant it. And if they do, then it would go back to the environmental board for them to consider. So there's a role for the environmental board, so if somebody objects to having a tree plant in front of their house in the street, they would be able to consider whether that's something that the city should say, okay, we're not gonna do that because they object, or maybe we need to go forward and do it anyway because it's in our overall plan. So I think having this plan would be something that could help guide the environmental board and the council in those kind of instances, so.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, some people really don't want trees in front of their house, even though it's not their property to control.
Mhm.
It's, you know, they consider it their yard, they're mowing it, and they wanna be able to have a say, so.
But it is a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a community.
Mhm.
It's not just their
That's right,
land.
that's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
so hopefully the plan will help, you know, back up whatever decisions we're making and where we're planting things.
Yeah.
So if the neighbor's upset about something, well, it's in a plan, there's a reason for this, and here's the reason, and then you can always adjust, but it might
So,
help.
so the environmental board can kind of vet, if there is a concern, they can kind of vet location and then complaints or grievances potentially.
Potentially,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I know
Just
that the
about-
environmental board has proposed creating a new board or commission, the tree board. I have not read their proposal yet. I think that's something the legislative committee is considering or will be looking at. But I don't know what.
It's like a subcommittee?
As an entirely new board,
Oh,
so
Oh.
I don't know what exactly that says. I
It
haven't
would
read it,
mean.
but.
yeah. Interesting. To speak specifically to this kind of work that's being done.
I believe so.
Interesting.
Thanks for making me go down memory lane, Greg.
Sure.
I'm quite convinced it's your fault.
Anytime. Some people are.
Okay.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the only complaint I've ever heard about trees was, on city property, but in front of a house, there was like an apple tree, maybe a crab apple tree or something, you couldn't really eat the apples. And the deer, it attracted deer when the apples fell down, but,
So it was a deer problem?
yeah,
Oh dear.
but the deer apparently liked the apples.
Yeah. They'll eat anything these days, I think. So we can move that tree to, I think, to the consent agenda if everybody's good with that. Okay. The next item is about the Market Street parking lot stairs. We were just discussing this.
Right, I don't think we should do that at this time. I would prefer that, once the parking lot is open and we see how things go, because we have, I don't know, Greg, what did you say the elevator and the new staircase cost?
So the one that we constructed,
Right.
that's a,
It's in a building.
That's like a building,
Right.
essentially. It's a stair tower and elevator that's over 1.3 million.
Right, so we've spent a lot of money on that already, and, it does have an elevator and a staircase, and there's a new sidewalk on, that's Chestnut Street Extension, is that right? The side street there?
Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, there's plenty of options for walking, and I think, if there's a problem develops, then I think we could look at this another time. But it could be as much as $200,000, and I don't think we should spend the money now.
Well, I think there's two considerations. One is that the local business owners in that portion of Market Street are concerned about the absence of stairs, apparently. So they would like to see this happen as a way to kind of get pedestrians down there, walkers down there more. So there's that, their concerns, I think we should take into account a little bit. And then there's a kind of overall, just making that part of Market Street accessible, even more accessible. I don't think there's, you know, an overabundance. But I'm curious, I would like to just go take a tour before we have, I'd like to just see it myself, and just kind of see like what the current
Delay
landscape
it for
is.
another couple of weeks, at the city.
Well, I don't think I think we should continue to discuss.
I don't have it in front of me, but you see,
Yeah.
I think this is the paragraph here.
Yeah.
That, because, you know, from the operational and maintenance point of view, there's some problems too.
Well, there is the consideration that it sounds
Right.
like DPW.
So it would cost us
Yes.
more money to operate, and already we're gonna have a very high expense for the elevator and, you know, maintaining that building. So my preference is that we visit it at another time to see after the parking lot opens. There's no it doesn't have to be done now.
Maybe another way to look at it is can we at least get an actual estimate for it? I mean, because right now we don't have any, we're guessing it's 150
Yeah.
plus, let's go to the step of getting an estimate for it.
That's a good idea too.
And then we can really make a good,
Have a better sense of it.
you know,
Yeah.
because that is a high bank. I'm trying to remember when the parking garage was in. I think you could get out there plus down closer to Market Street on that side of the building. So there's already two. When they built the parking garage, it had to be the reason why they were thinking they needed two there. And we don't have any now. So,
Well, the second that you're referring to down by Market Street is no longer needed because there's no second level
Right.
there, it's at ground level, but, so we're one down from where.
right, well, what I'm thinking though is like if
Yeah.
you park here, then you gotta walk either all the way over here to the elevator, walk
Right.
all the way back across to go across the street,
Right?
Yeah.
or I'm walking all the way back down this way to get to where I can get up, and
Yeah.
now we're gonna be trampling grass and everything else because, you know, people are gonna wanna take a shortcut where they can to walk all the way back up to get back over
But
there.
you can walk around on the sidewalk, depending upon where you
But either
park.
way, you're still coming all the way back down to come over to come up.
That's right.
So either way, you're either going this way all the way over to come up to come over, or you're coming back all the way down this way to come to go back up to go back
That's
over.
right.
It doesn't
I'm
seem
just
like
saying
that,
if we
yeah.
got an estimate and see
Yeah.
what,
I'm for getting
You
an
know.
estimate.
Because I think you want to encourage people not only to walk, but to come downtown and to feel like they can walk around downtown conveniently. I mean,
Mhm.
it's all about convenience for people, you know? So,
that's what the
if
parking
they
garage
feel
battle
like,
was.
sorry?
That's what the parking garage battle has been, is the
Convenience,
convenience of it.
that's a word that comes up all the time. It's not just parking, it's convenient parking. So you need to give people at least the perception that the walking is gonna be easy and things are gonna be accessible. So that's where I think, you know, there's a perception issue here that we have to be attentive to.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
Greg, if we were to put a staircase in there, would it be just a straight with no turns and bends in it? Or because of code, they're only allowed to go up so many steps before they can land?
It could be a straight or either way, yeah. There'd be, I mean, we'd have to spend some money in engineering to figure out exactly how it's gonna work, so we can give something to a contractor to give us an actual estimate. Cause the estimates now are, yeah, they're high level and to have a good idea, you'd have to have some drawings to
So
give to
how much
someone,
would-
say, this is what we're doing, how
How
much
much
would
would it cost to get a real estimate?
I don't know, we'd have to look into that and see, yeah.
I think that's the first steps, no matter what, is let's see how much it's gonna cost
I
us to
think
get to
so.
the next one, to get to the next.
Yeah.
Cause it's kinda hard to say, hey, let's do this, or hey, let's not do it, when we don't have
How are we
any
going to
figures.
pay for the estimate?
That's, right, we gotta know how much is it gonna be to
Right,
be able to get to
the
that.
first step is to get an estimate of what it'll cost to get an estimate.
Yeah.
It's logical.
And so the timeline for all of that would probably be what, like a couple months to get like an estimate, and then if we approve the estimate, then to do the study?
Yeah, I mean, like I think I put in here, and this was, again, high-level estimate. If you wanted to move forward with this and said, yeah, let's go for it, I think it'd be 12 to 18 months before anything happened. We'd do a separate bid, likely we wouldn't do it under the DRI project.
Oh, okay.
And you have to identify a funding source. I mean, if you
Yeah.
did it on the DRI project, it's coming out of the $7.5 million bond, so you're bonding
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Or you talk about taking it out of the parking reserve or the unrestricted general fund balance or budgeting it in the 2026 operating budget. So it's not something that's gonna be done before the parking lot opens in any case.
Yeah, so to your point, Don, I think this sounds like we don't need to necessarily like formally delay anything, it's just gonna be a process now anyway, so just to
So
get
the first step
data.
then is to find out how much
An
it costs to
estimate
get
would
an
be-
estimate.
Yeah, just to figure it
Yeah,
out.
that's
It's gonna take,
reasonable.
it's gonna take a while, I
Yeah,
think,
that's
the whole
reasonable.
thing,
So-
yeah.
So if there's not a rush on it, then I would suggest, just given workload in the engineering department and everywhere, is that we just look at this in consideration of the 5-year capital plan
Mm.
and the 2026 budget process, so understanding that it's not gonna happen anytime soon, you know, we
Mhm.
probably won't be back here, you know,
I think
2
it
weeks.
I think it makes sense to start including it in the budget discussion.
I agree.
Discussion, do you have discussion?
Yeah, when we start doing the budget, that we need the money, whatever we
Yeah.
need to start being able to do this. in
Absolutely.
2026.
Put it when we working on the budget.
And then,
Yeah.
And
then
I
if the
think
council as a whole decides that they're
Right.
not gonna fund that,
I
then
was just
that's,
gonna say then it's all over, so that's the thing, I think we should get a read on how other people are,
Yep.
what they're thinking about it.
Yep.
Cause I think it's not clear cut, to your point.
yeah.
Okay, so what,
Discussion. We'll have
it goes to the
I think
discussion
so.
agenda?
Yeah,
Are
right,
you okay
yeah.
with that?
We're doing what now?
Oh, did you say to have discussion about this? Or are we gonna have an first we'll ask for an estimate and then
Ask
a
for the
discussion?
estimate and then
And
try
then
to put
it-
in with our budget discussion.
Yes, okay, so that,
So we,
So it wouldn't have to go up to the
so
council.
we don't even, do we need to do anything with this? This
I don't
is
think you
just,
take any action, I think you
right,
just- I'm gonna make a note of that.
okay.
We'll, consider this in the budget process.
With the 5-year plan of whatever.
Capital, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I say staging, but it's not, it's capital,
Okay.
right? I don't know whatever we're doing. I don't remember.
Capital improvement.
It's been a long day. It's been a lot of numbers going around today. I don't know how you do it all day long, Ginny, 'cause my head is hurting.
Some people like numbers, though.
They do,
They-
some, that's how some brains work, I don't know.
Any numbers over 10 confuses me.
I think I had both my shoes off at one point to make sure I was keeping up.
I haven't gone that far. I want the record to state that.
So we have, the contract approval for the, water main replacement
Right.
on Lawn Avenue in place. This is for a bid.
Where is that? I don't know.
Back, where you come out by the back of Huntington Library.
Huntington, by Huntington.
Okay.
That's where
Church Street.
Lawn Street's right up there.
Yeah.
Lawn Ave, Lawn, whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay. So,
So this
So
one,
that-
oh, go ahead.
this would be the water
So
fund,
that's gonna go on the consent agenda?
sorry, which,
The water main replacement?
oh, we haven't discussed it yet.
Oh, okay.
I,
thought
we,
did.
no,
Oh,
I don't think we've, the Lawn Ave replacement?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I was just gonna ask kind of where the money was gonna come from, it's the water,
So we budgeted $100,000 in the water fund this year, in
Yes.
the operating budget. And the contract amount will be $135,000, and just allowing for some contingency, I would recommend a $150,000 budget. So that's an additional $50,000 that we need to come up with, and we can take that out of the water fund contingency in this year's budget. It has a current balance of just over $70,000, so bring it down to about 20 for the remainder of the year. The only other option, Jenny, would be to take it out of the water fund reserve. So I would suggest take it out of contingency now, and if we get to the point where we find another project or some unanticipated issue that comes up and we run out of contingency, then you're looking at using the water reserve. The alternative would be to just not do the project, of course, push it off. We talked a lot about the need to replace our water main infrastructure. As I mentioned here, this has been on our plan, our water system master plan that we updated in 2015. One of the priorities in the distribution system is replacing the small diameter. This is a 4-inch diameter main. As you know, over time, interpercolation and the growth on the inside of the pipe restricts it to 2 inches or less than that. It's really not a 4-inch diameter pipe anymore. It's not providing much at all in the way of fire flow. And also that, it would just be a better quality
It's gotta be done.
product once we
Right.
replace it, so.
Basically, it's gotta be done.
Yeah, we know we have to be replacing water main, this is one we prioritized, so. The fact that we were able to budget $100,000 for a capital project in the water fund, I think is a big deal. We haven't been able to do that in a while, and that has to go, it's due to the fact that we've been increasing our water rates, and we're starting to be able to take on some projects, whereas a few years ago we couldn't, other than bonding, so that's a good thing.
So it's most likely 100 years old?
Yeah,
diameter of the valve?
our valve books show that the valves were measured in 1935, and I think, they were installed sometime before that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure when, I don't have record.
Sounds like it's time for a new valve.
It was probably put in 1908.
Might have been a village still. Yeah.
Great.
I'm in awe of when I go see the reservoir and the dam that holds the water back and everything. That was mostly done with muscle power, I would imagine, animals and people. And then, digging all those trenches to lay the pipes. And they didn't have a lot of heavy machinery back then. So nothing lasts forever.
No, especially with water, right? It's a road.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I think we should, even though, I think we should move that just to the consent agenda because it's like, it seems to me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and it just seems like it's imperative that
Yeah.
the project gets completed.
By the way, did they find the leak?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think we would have heard, right?
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah.
It would have been announced somewhere that we found it.
I was listening to, this is, when I'm walking around, I do a lot of that, and I listen to the catch basins, if there's
Oh.
running water, and I found one where there's running water.
Oh. Where is
Every
it?
time it's, where my ex-wife Nancy's house is? On, what's that, Bugby?
Is it Ravine? Oh.
Bugby, and there's a side street there. There's a catch basin in front of her house, and there's running water in that catch basin all the time.
Hmm.
Every time I've listened, anyway.
Crestmont?
Yeah, that's it,
Yes.
right, Crestmont and Bugby.
Crestmont, Bogey? Hmm. Check it out.
Yeah,
It could be groundwater,
I have no idea what it is, but if, I will be really happy if I find the leak. I've been
Just from
checking it out.
Just from listening, right? Just from
Well,
hearing.
Water
that would be
makes noise
impressive.
when it moves.
Yes, that would be impressive.
And if it's
You-
not raining, ordinarily don't hear any
Of course, it
water
would be,
in the
you would
catch
notice it,
basins.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say you would listen to some podcast on
Oh,
water.
no,
and I
no,
was gonna say,
no,
oh,
I've been-
okay,
Listening
But-
to catch basins.
alright,
It's a,
have to check it out.
Keep walking, Don. Explore new areas of the city.
well, no, really, it
Check out Hall
just,
on Ave.
some,
That's right.
some guy notices that, there's always water running there, I wonder why.
Yeah, yeah,
And it turns out it's the leak that we've been looking for.
yeah. It's a good story. That's a good story. So our last item, so I think we should move that, as I said, to the consent, and then our last item is on the staffing review. And I actually think this, this requires some time.
Right, we haven't
To
had a chance to
review.
really, we just got
Right,
it.
so,
Yeah, I can
yeah, do you mind?
walk you through it,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great.
So this is the same format as I've been providing since I started doing these quarterly staffing reports, whenever that was. So like the summary page, I just mentioned, we have 142 full-time, 43 part-time, and 8 seasonal positions that are budgeted. And I call that the modified budget because we have made some changes this year when we've done these different departmental staffing reviews. So skipping down to the next set of bullets is where I outline any staffing modifications that were made this past quarter. One of those was adopting a new title, Fleet Maintenance Supervisor, in the admin manual, and that was in Central Garage. So, and we have filled that position via promotion. So our head automotive mechanic has been promoted to Fleet Maintenance Supervisor. We also eliminated a part-time code enforcement inspector position, increased the salary of the incumbent full-time code enforcement inspector, and authorized the addition of a second full-time code enforcement inspector, which has not yet been filled, but will eventually, we intend that to be filled with a promotion of one of our 2 ordinance inspectors. We have not done that yet. So it's not, ultimately, if I recall correctly, that one was a cost savings, a net cost savings. But these were all previously approved. Added a full-time bus driver position in place of a full-time administrative specialist position in OPT, and then swapped a part-time bus driver position for a part-time admin specialist position. And then we eliminated the airport maintenance mechanic position, with our former incumbent being technically laid off and immediately rehired by our contractor, Hawkeye Aviation LLC, which is now the fixed base operator and airport manager at the airport. So his job didn't change, but his employer did. Or his job changed a little bit, but and that's been going well so far. As an aside, Ginny and I were talking with Matt Kent of Hawkeye Aviation. He said they sold 5,000 gallons of jet fuel in June, and I think we sold 3,000 or so last year. I forget the number, but it was a significant increase,
Almost twice.
from last year. And they have a fuel truck up there now, which allows them to fuel more jets that
Yeah.
otherwise would use the old
Yeah.
system. So I think the arrangement is showing good positive signs of success so far.
If I could just interject for half a second, because I actually made this point when I think you were away. We had a discussion about the airport, and I'm just wondering if at one of our meetings, you could just provide just like an overview of kind of these different projects and changes that have taken place there. We've had, I feel like, repeated number of these projects that we've talked about, and haven't had like a holistic view of where they all kind of fit together
Specifically at the airport?
at the airport.
Okay.
And I went, I think it was recommended I take a look at that packet that we received at a council meeting. And so I went and looked at it, and it's very informative, but it doesn't give an overview of just what the city's been doing just in the past, what we've approved and worked on in the past like 6 months or so.
Okay.
So I was just curious, just because, oh, yeah.
I want to interrupt.
I just was curious about if we could just, because I realized we had a discussion. You were away, and we had a discussion about it. We approved, some changes, and then I realized, it would be nice just to have a sense of kind of like where all these different moving pieces are coming
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
Just like a brief
Yeah.
summary, like bullet points of here's what we've been doing, in terms of the airport.
Yeah, I can do that we'll create a form and, put it in writing so you can have it to look back at the next meeting or something. But Ginny, do you want to add something right away?
Well, I had provided the council a history going back to 2012 when we took over the airport. I want to say I did that maybe last budget season, and it described all the capital projects that we have been
Yeah.
involved in since then. And I can reissue that
Yeah.
with updated information.
That would be wonderful, because, just because, again, it's that sense of like, this piece and this piece and this piece are all interconnected, and just getting an overview of all that, because it's really fascinating.
I mean, I cannot explain how the different projects connect to each other. You would
No,
need
but
more
you-
permission to do that, but.
Right, no, but it's just more, I can also kind of see, like, you see the way in which they work, but just in terms of like what we've been approving and how that's kind of moving these, the overall vision of the airport forward.
Sure.
That was what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask you to synthesize it all, just
I
a,
mean,
just a
I
list.
understand it, but I don't want to sound like I'm an expert on it.
No.
Every year, like, we update the capital plan, our overall capital plan, which includes airport projects, but the airport has its own ACIP, Airport Capital Improvement Plan, that we have to submit to the FAA every year, and that process to update that is happening now. So I have a meeting next week, I think, to talk about that. So, it'd be appropriate time leading into the budget to talk about it.
Yeah, just to see like what, and then maybe there'll even be some data out, as you said, just mentioned some, that shows maybe a before and after. Just a thought. Even just for our committee, it doesn't have to be, it could include the whole council, but I think it's just because we've been having discussions about the airport now for a bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was just a little interjection on your last point.
We don't have to do anything with the quarterly review though, right? We don't have to approve it or anything, just read it and for our own
Yeah.
information.
ask questions or not, yeah,
Mhm.
anything you'd like. So, you know, as the last part of that first page, I just made a note, we had a couple of retirements. Jamie Knapp, he was here for one of the council meetings not too long ago, retired from DPW, 17 plus years. Also Sergeant Joseph Tiemann retired from the police department just a week or two ago. He was not, he did not come to a council meeting, but there was a little gathering outside the police department. We surprised him. He served 18 plus years and is happy to be heading to retirement. And then unfortunately, we did have an in-service death. We had one of our part-time bus drivers who had passed away back in April. And I've not heard yet if and when there's a service or any sort of a public thing that Dave Hotelling was going to let me know about. But yes, Jack had worked here over 33 years in various roles in OPT. I guess he had started even longer ago than that. I believe he started as a police officer.
He was a retired
And then-
state police trooper.
And then went from Oneonta Police to State Troopers in
Oh,
retirement.
wow.
And then he came and worked a full second career in OPT and retired and kept working part-time. So he was an all-star Oneonta employee, unfortunately passing away. So I don't know if you want me to go through any of the particular departments, but let's see. I did, so you know, you'll see at the top of the colorful pages, it's as of July 10th, so it's a little bit past the first quarter. I figured since I was finishing it today, I'd go right to today. We did just Monday, we had an accountant start in Ginny's finance department, which, as you know, has been a long time coming. It's been since I look back November 2022.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 years.
Wow.
So
Sorry.
Long time.
we're pretty excited about that.
He's young, he's fresh right out of college.
And we've got our temporary
Be gentle.
administrative specialist, full-time in the city clerk's office, Gabriella De Leon, that started.
Oh, yeah.
So we're fully staffed in both of those offices now.
Can I ask a question about human resources for a minute?
Yes?
Should we, update our charter to go along with what we just did with our restructuring of our human resources department?
I think
Because
if
we
you
no
look,
longer have a director.
if you look at the charter, there's a few things in there
Oh,
that
yeah,
are
you're
not
jumping ahead of
matching
other
reality with
places.
respect to like what departments exist and what the department
Right.
heads are. So that would be something to be looked at some point. And I do wanna, it's been about a year exactly, or pretty close, since we altered the structure, not having a HR director. I'd like to kind of put my thoughts down on as to what the experience has been and have another discussion. I think we should have a follow-up discussion about that. Is that working out the way we expected? How's everything going? Is everyone happy with that before we go and change the charter? Because there's a reference in the city administrator's job description in the charter as to the HR director, and so how does that work now that there isn't one? As well as there's a section, I think, specifically that says there's a HR department. So I think it's something we should revisit in this committee.
Well, that's,
Hence
yeah,
the
you
name.
kinda got ahead of me a little bit, cause that was some of my other questions were, because we do have other titles that we did this, and it has been a long time that we haven't had those filled because we did other stuff. Maybe it's time we look and redo the title changes to match what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
But if you wanna wait a little bit longer with
It's-
this one, I'm okay with it, cause I'd rather just do it all at one shot, cause when you go into that charter, it's a pain in the butt.
we've gone through DPW, OPT, Central Garage so far this year, Code Office, we've changed some tweaks, I mean, not to the department heads there, but we've been going through those kind of systematically in this committee, and we then go through council, we've made some changes. So I think looking at finance and HR together in finance and HR makes sense, like what is the long-term goal? Like we've got an accountant now in Ginny's department, but we still are looking for the future successor for Ginny, and what is the future of that department? How do we make sure that's successful? And I think it's worth discussing, where are we at now, and where do we wanna be? Are we closer than we were last year, both in finance and HR and any other departments we haven't yet really gone through? I mean, we've had the temporary full-time position position in the clerk's office. I think it's worth talking about each of the departments, and then, to your point, going back at some point when we're settled on, this is our vision, and this is what we're pursuing. We're not gonna make any drastic changes.
I don't care if it's like 3 years
then.
from now, we go to the charter, we
Yeah.
wanna make sure we have a plan that we're gonna update
Yeah,
what we're doing here, we update there, so that we're not in confliction,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So would you agree that the first step is a conversation more about that in this committee?
Yeah, I had a question about that actually. So, is this something that would require like an executive session? No, not initially.
Not about the structure of departments and
Okay.
what titles we have and what funding levels and that, but if we're talking about individuals,
Oh, okay.
you know,
All right.
any matter leading to the
But the-
employment or concern
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
employment of a
okay.
particular individual.
All
is
right. So it's labor concerns more than
Yeah.
restructuring. Okay.
Yeah,
Organizational restructuring is what you were talking about.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be happy to have that conversation here. I don't know what others think.
It just, like I said, it didn't have to be like yesterday.
Yeah,
whatever,
right away.
just, I mean, a couple,
Yeah.
if you wanna go another year, figure out, make sure that this really works, I'm on board with that too. I'm just saying, at some point, we have to kinda,
Yeah.
before we get conflicting,
It sounds
Problems.
it sounds as if the conversation may be necessary sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think the timing again is, you know, leading into the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this committee has gotten pretty efficient, you know, we're not multiple hours, you get through this stuff pretty quickly, usually about an hour, you know, it leaves you a little bit more time as we go into the budget season to talk about some sort of more higher level planning, vision, organizational structure, things like this. And then
Because
make
we
those
still have that-
recommendations to the council.
cause this might have to be pushed, cause we got that policy conversations we're gonna have to have here shortly.
Yeah.
Policies that are put.
The
in
overtime
financial-
policy? Yeah.
Policies that,
Yeah.
that do a financial,
Mhm.
whatever runs in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those things I think are gonna inform the 2026 budget, so they're both timely to discuss now or soon.
Yeah. Yes.
And segue into another topic, if Greg gives me permission.
I love segues.
I'm okay with that unless, actually you can
Transitions.
come back to this
I
if you
mean,
wanna go through the rest
I'll
of it.
just
or-
mention, so just so we have it on the record, I'm more than happy to have these conversations here, and they can be, you know, lengthy conversations, totally fine.
It's kind of appropriate spot. It's
Totally.
finance and human resources.
Yeah.
It's kind
Mhm.
of,
But we can go into some depth,
Yeah.
that's great.
because like to Greg's point, like we have gotten efficient here, we have gotten, so we can start taking on some of these other
We
conversations.
can do that,
need to be
that's
had.
right, that's right.
Kind of like quality of life, we got efficient to get to all those other ones that,
You know, I gotta say, I think the efficiency in this committee has to do with the narratives that we get.
Mhm.
They're really, really helpful. I mean, they just, you know, provide, I think, real depth to the conversation that you maybe otherwise wouldn't have. That's my impression at least. Wanna segue? Wanna transition?
Well, I don't, is Greg already done with the
Oh, yeah.
staffing?
Are you finished with
Uh,
this conversation? Is there anything else you'd like us to know?
Let's see, community development, no changes, code enforcement, not really much of a change.
There's some staffing,
Obviously,
appointment
the
details.
airport structure reflects our new structure, we don't have any employees there, we have a contractor. Obviously, I mentioned the police sergeant that retired, so that brought us to 3 vacancies. And now we have a police officer who's leaving, so that gives us 4 vacancies, plus we have 3 who are at the academy now, and we have a couple that are out on medical leave, so we're about 10 uniform personnel actually available and you know, working and on the street right now from what we're budgeting at the police department, so we're still quite low there. Obviously, we have some help coming with our recruits that are still in the academy, and they'll be on the road per se by the end of the year. But
So
it's
that
still
will make a
early.
difference.
That'll help, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, once they're able to fully operate as police officers, but that'll be the end of the year. And I think Dave Corey mentioned this the last meeting, or I believe, when we talked about civil service changes where we can do continuous
Oh, yeah.
recruitment for police officers.
Yes,
now,
right.
Which makes
Where
us.
they can, what was the difference? It was something significant.
Instead of having specific times when you can look to
Oh,
recruit
right.
people, now it
It's
can be
all
just
year.
continuous.
That's right.
Continuous.
I think that's
Continuous
about right.
employment,
Is
which
that
is a
what it
big
is?
deal, yeah.
Big deal.
That's right, thank you.
give
We
him
can
credit for that.
read over this stuff and then if we have
I
questions
think-
next time.
I think so. I think there is some things to kind of go through, but it's always helpful to get these overviews.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have anything else in particular to
Yeah.
call attention to.
Okay,
Ginny had something.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Kitty's ready.
Well, Craig, may I talk about the 2026 budget process?
No,
If the chair says you can, yes, of course.
So,
You
according to
absolutely
the
can.
charter, we begin the 2026 budget process in July, and I believe it says by the second council of meeting. So what I would like to do for the 15th, I am not ready to start the discussion. I am still in the depths of the audit. And so I would like council to consider scheduling a budget meeting before the end of July. Maybe council's on the 15th, so maybe on the 23rd, or on the 30th of July, we can schedule the first official budget meeting to kick the process off. I plan on submitting, I'm gonna create the binders again, because I think the people find those useful. I will put in all of the presentations that the budget committee has received. Yeah.
you can
Well,
reuse this.
I'll put in all the presentations that the budget committee has received. I will also give you the history reports. I'll update the normal history reports that gives you the history of our major revenue sources and things like that. We'll also have the overtime reports in there, because I think the overtime discussion is going to be important for the 26 budget discussion. Alan is finishing up the graph comparisons for me of putting the actual budgets compared to
Oh, great.
actuals together for the overtime categories. And so that is what I would like the council to consider on the 15th, is scheduling our first kickoff meeting. We will bring it up at council on the 15th, because the charter demands us to do that. But that is what I would like the council members to consider. And I will not be able to have enough time to get anything ready for the 15th, because as I said, I'm still in the depths of the audit. And it's gonna take me some time to finish things up.
Who schedules that? Is that the mayor or the council?
Well, the council will agree on a whole.
Okay.
The mayor, I'm sure, will take a consensus of who's available when, and then you guys will agree on a meeting date.
Okay.
So my question was gonna be on the, you had mentioned, I think in our last meeting about providing a budget comparison. Would that be part of your preparation, is having those years compared?
I don't know if I'll have that ready for the first meeting.
Okay.
But it will eventually come. But what I was really referring to in the budget comparison was
Is the overtime? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that will be ready for the
Okay.
first meeting, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I just have to prove what Alan has done.
Yeah.
And then get them in presentation form.
Okay. Is that what you were referring to all along?
Yeah.
Okay. Not just comparison of budgets,
Yeah.
but in particular actual versus overtime?
Yes,
Okay.
and then where you will see the comparison in the budgets for
Mhm.
5 year, I will give you a 5-year previous history and then a 5-year projection.
Okay.
I don't think that's a problem that,
Then
to
also
add in a
in,
meeting.
yeah, in the first, also in the first meeting, the first budget meeting, I would like to present the fund balances, changes between 23 and 24 for the general water and sewer funds in OPT. And then I will be making recommendations for the council to consider increasing the reserves, by, designated amounts for, different areas, either streets and sidewalks or public safety. I have to really sit down and analyze the numbers and look at the reserve history. I will be updating the reserve report that will show you the activity, I think, since maybe 2020 in each of the reserves. And so the council has that information.
Great. So you, just to clarify, my notes here, you'll recommend increasing reserves by certain?
Yes, I recommend,
Right.
I've got to go over it with Greg first,
Mhm.
and then we'll bring the recommendations forward for council
Mhm.
consideration.
Okay.
And that's based on there being surplus.
Yes, based on if, on the various surpluses that we have.
Mhm. Great. Anything else? Questions for Ginny?
Can Can we stop time now so we don't have to do the budget discussion? It's gonna be the next long couple, like 4 months. More so on the city staff, but
Yeah.
It starts in January and ends in December. So.
I mean, the budget goes all year, yes, I just,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Some cities do their budget planning like they're finished, you know, by June or end of June.
mhm.
Oh, but they have a different budget year, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's just long nights.
Pushing it off
Long
is maybe
meetings.
what I would prefer.
I'm just not a fan of the budget meetings before a council meeting. Those seem to kill us. Those
A
are
budget
long
meeting
meetings.
before
You know how you
council.
said, like, oh, well, you know, how about we meet before Tuesday night's council meeting, let's come in at like 5.
Oh.
'Cause
Did we
then
do that last?
You
since
get rushed, and then everybody's like starting to get grumpy because you're rushed, and it carries over into the council meeting where everybody's grumpy at each other because they didn't get their, you know. I just think having
Grumpy's a
that,
word for it, yeah.
you know, I just think having that one meeting, have your council meeting be your council meeting, your budget meeting be your budget meeting.
Yeah. Did
I
we,
know.
have we done that since Dawn
We
and
did-
I've
we
been
did
on
a couple
council?
times.
Did we? I don't recall.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we did it this last one, but it was the one
I
before.
support them in separate meetings because the conversations always get cut short,
Mm.
so.
The budget conversations.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, all of it?
yeah, and as I've said to the council members before, the financial information is very layered and it
Yes.
can be very complicated
Yes.
and it can be a lot to absorb.
Yes.
So that's why I try to do certain sections at certain times in the meetings, like let's talk general fund, let's talk water fund another time, let's talk sewer fund another time, because it's just too voluminous to
Yeah.
absorb it all. And,
We used to have the budget meetings where we used to, Jenny would be nice and go across the street and buy us pizza, and then we were here for like 45 hours trying to do it. So, I like it, it is nice that it gets broken up into sections. But, and I'm gonna tell you, between the way we did it at the county and the way we do it here, this way's a lot easier.
Uh-huh.
County, you just went, I mean, it was a marathon. It
10
was a
hours or
whole-
something?
That was a whole day
Yeah.
when we were doing it.
Yeah.
And each department head comes in, and you're sitting there, and you're like,
Yeah.
they're fighting for whites, and it's like, put all the lights underneath the same thing, it's all the, it's really weird, kind of really weird when I was out there doing it.
Yeah.
So having Ginny break it up the way she does is pretty helpful, so.
any other suggestions or feedback on what you'd like to see different, or
I wonder about
Particular
community
reports.
involvement in the budget process, like, you know, getting people better informed about what it means for the council to do this kind of work.
I mean, it's already an open session.
Yeah,
and it's
Thank you.
recorded, and,
Yeah.
and I have found in my, experiences is that we don't hear from the public unless they're unhappy about something.
right.
So even to coming to the budget hearings, it's usually very small attendance unless they're unhappy about something.
You get like three or
The actual
four.
making of the budget, they're not as interested in as when it comes down to setting the tax rate.
Yeah.
They want something specific.
I mean,
Tax,
Yeah.
the tax rate's the one you always hear about, well, I don't know.
oh, yeah.
You know, that's the one they really get going, and you say, well, it's only like, you know, it's doing 2%, doing 2.5.
Right, right.
You know, and then, well, what can you justify it to me? Yeah, you like this, and this, we're trying to give you this. I've already forewarned people where I'm at that, hey, this might be the budget where we're gonna be talking about our services and where,
Yeah. This is gonna matter to you.
you know,
Yeah,
you may wanna
right.
think that we're going over tax cap again, might have to go over tax cap again for a second year, or we're not gonna be able to provide the level of services that we're providing right now at the level that we are. We've had these discussions, we started having them in committees, and this might be the year where we're sitting there saying, well, we're gonna do this, but we can't do it at the level that you're used to. Because we just can't afford to do it,
Yeah.
so.
I guess when I'm talking specifically to the point about community engagement, it's more like teaching the public what it means to do a budget. But they wouldn't really have any idea. You know, a lot of people would be fuzzy about what it would mean. So just kind of bringing them in on not so much like, you know, do you agree or disagree? Just sort of like, this is what it means to do a does it feel transparent to the public in some ways?
So how would we do that?
I don't know, I'm,
Well, all of the
Got it.
budget documents are online. They're on the city website under the finance department. All of my memos are there. And the memos, I think, are, in my viewpoint, pretty helpful in understanding different topics and understanding the different situations. For example, I have tried to correct many times of people saying that, you know, we're 47% non-taxable properties, and I'm like, no, that's not true.
Right.
We only have 6.23% properties that are tax exempt,
Right.
because those are the number of parcels. Our tax assessed value, 47% is tax exempt, and 60% of that is made up of the colleges.
Right.
You know, and things like that. So I try to educate them so they can repeat the facts accurately.
Right.
Because it's a misconception.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
And
And it circulates, that's an example.
Do you think it would be, if there was more of a proactive outreach to the public?
I think
Like
so.
almost a marketing campaign
Yeah.
about the budget?
I
So
think
like
so.
all the information and documents and memos and all that is available,
Yeah.
but we haven't ever taken that and turned it into something that is someone is able to read
Yeah.
in snippets or, almost like a marketing campaign.
Yeah,
or a
no.
social media campaign or something like
That's
that.
totally what I'm thinking of, just in terms of like making it so that the public feels as if they get what's going on a little bit more. Cause I think there is, even though it's like the old, case of like, the information's out there, but people don't know how to make sense, they don't know how to synthesize the information well.
Last year, one of the projects for Alan, was for Ken and I to put together the city comparisons.
Yeah,
And I thought that would be very, very helpful visually for people to get a concept of
yeah,
really how reasonable, and matter of fact, how low our tax levy is
Yes.
compared to other municipalities.
yes,
Our water rates and sewer rates, we
Yeah.
did the same type of comparison, so it was a visual, easy read.
exactly.
To just kind of give them a snapshot of, this is the city going on compared to these other areas.
Yeah, and it was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the best, most useful kind of data collection that I've seen since being here, so maybe we can, I don't know, I haven't conceptualized pedagogically what it would mean, cause I was thinking more in terms of pedagogy as opposed
And
to.
I plan on asking Alan to
Policy.
do that with the next year's information, and so we can just update all of those charts, and, we can keep that ongoing every year.
Yeah, I think it was fantastic.
Is there any indication from the state yet how they're gonna change things since the federal government changed a lot of stuff in the way they're funding?
I have not heard anything yet. I will tell you, and this isn't based on anything except what I'm hearing on the news. What I'm very concerned about is our hospital and our nursing homes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Rural health,
I think there's gonna be a lot of cost.
it's
shifting.
healthcare,
This isn't political, this is just what was passed, I just think there's gonna be a lot of
absolutely,
cost
it's just the
shifting.
objective reality, right, yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
like when I was on the county board, the state did some changes up there and they cost shifted a lot of things to the county. And then the county had to either absorb it somehow or they had to shift it back out too, so.
I haven't heard anything yet, but the one thing, in all the reports that I'm reading about the federal level changes, in my mind, the chain reaction in our area is going to be our hospital and our nursing homes, for Medicaid funding.
Yeah.
And I'm also worried about the SNAP programs
Yeah.
for our recipients in the Helena area, our food pantries, all of those support services. That's really gonna greatly affect our areas.
Because one thing I was looking at is like, we always have heard about after-school programs, especially during the summer, not having enough. City, back when the city could, we were doing all that stuff in the park, and then we stopped doing it now.
Yep.
I think we might have to look at, you might have
So,
to,
we're
do
just
certain
gonna have to, we're gonna just have to see how this actually plays out.
Yes, all right, it's a kind of wait and see.
Well, from what I understand on the financial reports for our local hospitals and the nursing homes, they're hanging on by a thread now.
So that means health insurance could be affected in this budget.
It's the Medicaid cuts that'll affect them
That are
directly.
profound, yeah.
And they're-
Bassett has something, I actually heard the number in terms of, the number of patients that are recipients of Medicaid, it's significant.
It's a very high percentage.
Yes.
Yeah, the small rural hospitals will be the first one to
Yeah,
be directly
they're on the front
impacted.
lines, yeah.
And then it'll hit the large urban centers
Yeah.
too. But it's gonna be, we just don't know.
I was just trying to figure out the budget discussion coming up, I'm like,
Well, we're not gonna really know the chain reactions until they happen. So I'm going to present the budget as everything's gonna stay status quo in our community. But I think we just need to be prepared, for a contingency plan if something drastically changes.
Do you have any idea how many people work at Fox?
Yes, but I don't have the number with me. We just, Bassett Hospital itself, for their whole network, employs about 5,000 people. How many are strictly at Fox Hospital, I would have to get down on the details for that.
Yeah. So it probably is at least 100, I would think.
Oh, at least, if not
Yeah.
more, yeah.
Yeah.
you got
The,
100 at Foxcare alone.
Right. Yeah.
And there are tentacles where.
Right, the clinics and all of that, it's all
Sidewalks.
interconnected. It's not good. No.
And then also if, say for example, this is just a chain reaction, we have a majority of our ambulance patients that are Medicaid, right? So if they end up going private pay, they're not gonna be able to pay it, that's going to reduce our ambulance revenues. So it's just, it's gonna have it could potentially have chain reactions in many of our different areas. So say Fox Hospital closes, say nursing homes close, well, that's going to reduce our water and sewer revenues. So it's just a matter of, the chain reaction of their decisions of, choosing to do this to the most vulnerable.
That's right.
And it could also eventually affect the amount of grant money that's available for, other things as well. We're not
Some
gonna.
of the incentives for your clean energy have been wiped out of the budget.
Totally, national,
Yeah.
but not in.
National budget,
Yeah, New York
yeah.
State's holding its own.
Which, that's why I was wondering, like, how does that affect?
Yeah.
Is
I
the
mean, I
state
think-
giving us any kind of,
You know, I don't know if you read any of the New York State budget
I didn't know.
discussion, it's pretty fascinating, because New York State's actually quite robust in terms of the overall state budget, so.
I just got an email from NICOM, which I can forward to all the council members summarizing up the bill, and I can send that out to you.
That'd be good.
I mean, I think we're lucky we live here in a lot of ways, in terms of just not
Right.
feeling this right away.
The current state budget is the largest ever.
It's really quite something.
But a lot of it does
But
depend on federal
Yes,
money
but
coming in.
New York State has also, the revenue the state generates is,
It's very hard.
ginormous, so.
And we have to be careful not to have the wealthiest people that live in New York City relocate.
We don't want that. We don't want anybody.
I wasn't asking for like a political discussion. I'm more worried about how's this gonna affect us as we're building our budget.
Mm.
Well, as I said, Scott, I'm going to present it as if everything's gonna stay status quo as far as the community's existence, because I don't have any data to do it otherwise.
Yeah, I didn't know if the state like pushed something out, hey, you guys gotta, with this happening, this is that, we might be losing.
No,
Not being able to do
I haven't
this.
gotten those notices yet.
Okay,
But maybe by November, we'll have more information.
okay, thanks.
Okay.
We can't do anything about it though, so, right on our level,
Yeah.
just react, best we can.
Fingerprint on that, Jesus. Somehow I got a fingerprint right in the middle of my lens, I guess.
There you go.
How does that happen? I didn't even touch my lenses.
Glasses are such a pain. If there's nothing else, we can move to adjourn. Is there anything else?
Oh,
Okay, great. Then we'll adjourn at 6:26.